Hello. Today we're doing The Friends of Mr. Cairo by Jon and Vangelis. This is a request from Canadian Dave. He's a mate. I'd like to think of him as a mate, and he said he would be interested to hear this. Somebody else requested this one as well. I don't know if it was Dave as well, but this is for you and for anybody else who's interested in Jon and Vangelis. Original release 3rd of July 1981. Oh, 3rd of July, it's wedding anniversary. Not 81, that's just a date, 3rd of July. This is the second album from the diminutive Jon Anderson and the grand Vangelis. He was a big lad, Mr. Vangelis. Not as big as Demis Roussos though. He was also in Aphrodite's Child, but big lad, big personality as well. You know, their relationship came because I love this idea that it always tickles me that they got Jon Anderson, got Vangelis in. I think it was Jon Anderson that pushed for Vangelis to come and replace Rick Wakeman in Yes. And Vangelis come in and go, I play keyboard, no? I play bass guitar, yeah? I play drum now, yeah? And the band went, nah, this isn't going to do. So they got Patrick Moraz instead. That always tickles me because, again, Vangelis was a larger-than-life character who did, well, amazing stuff, amazing music, soundtracks. You know what he did. You don't need me to tell you. So, yeah, it's the 1980s. I am 10 years old, and two songs dominated the charts at that point. All right, two songs, State of Independence and I'll Find My Way Home. Funny enough, I'll Find My Way Home was the bigger hit. State of Independence, I think, got to number 16 in the chart, and I'll Find My Way Home got a bit higher than that. So I'm just looking it up on the old Wikipedia. Got to number 6. So, you know, that's the thing. So it got to number 14, not 16. It was Donna Summer that got to number 16. I'm getting mixed up. We'll talk about that in a minute. So yeah, The Friends of Mr. Cairo is interesting that it exists in 2 editions. Well, I did not know this. There was a first edition, which has a slightly different track listing. Opens with Friends of Mr. Cairo, Back to School, Outside and Inside, State of Independence on the B-side, beside, followed by the Mayflower ending. So it gives you a very different shape to the album. But it was reissued because I'll Find My Way Home was a big hit. And they reissued it, and they added it to the beginning and restructured the album. So you've got I'll Find My Way Home, State of Independence beside the Mayflower inside A, Friends of Mr. Cairo on side B, Back to School and Outside and Inside rounding it off. So it completely changes the shape of the album and the flow of it, which I find fascinating and interesting. But then maybe that's just me. Maybe you don't find it because, again, I only know like the later version. You know, but in those days, you know, record companies could do that. They could literally pull an album and do a second version of it without anybody even really knowing about it. That was the way the music biz operated. So anyway, opens with I'll Find My Way Home, which is the big hit. Again, these both are the problem with this album is the actual the track structure, the ordering of it, because they open with the 2 hits, and after you've heard the 2 hits, you go, I'm off, I'm done. And it'd have been better off, I think, ending the album with State of Independence, but they didn't. You know, bookending starts with I'll Find My Own, ends with State of Independence, because State of Independence kind of comes to a nice natural end if you know the track. I'll Find My Way Home is just a great piece of music. I mean, both of them. Again, it's hard not to talk about both together. I'll Find My Home is just a great tune. Again, Anderson's voice combined with Vangelis's work is just, you know, it's angelic, isn't it? It's heavenly. Again, their history goes back to Heaven and Hell. Jon Anderson turns up on that album. But when was that? 76, 77? Again, I haven't. You can correct me. You can correct me. And so yeah, it seems natural that they should, do this collaboration. But yeah, I find my way is fantastic. So is State of Independence. The interesting thing about hearing this again, because again, it's not an album I revisit too often. I think I had Jon and Vangelis' greatest hits back in the day. The blue cover, that one. And I rediscovered the albums later via download, I think. I think that sounds right. I'm not going to look in the archive, but yeah, I tend to remember these from the greatest hits album rather than the individual albums, as it were. So yeah, re-listening to State of Independence was fascinating because you realise that it's not synthesizer that dominates it. You're remembering Donna Summer, Darren. That's what you're remembering. Again, Donna Summer's version is very kind of Giorgio Moroder-esque in its presentation. Again, farming off of the popularity of I Feel Love, it feeds into her interpretation of State of Independence, which again, I think exists as even though it's the same song, they're polar different. I like to listen to them. They're different. They're same but different. It's odd. Different energy. But hit the same way, funny enough. But yeah, this version has Dick Morrissey on saxophone all over it, panning around. And again, Dick Morrissey, massive name, played with loads of people, most notably in the sphere of prog, Soft Machine, Land of Cocaine. I always want to say Cocaine, Land of Cocaine, from 1981. And of course, Peter Gabriel's third album, where he's on Start and all over it. And he's here doing sax work. In fact, again, he's all over this album, and a great player he is. So you get through the two big hits and you feel kind of satisfied. You're like, yum, that did me right. And then you hit Beside, which is a bit of a come down after those two songs, especially after the euphoria of State of Independence. It's a bit of a ballady type thing. That leads into the Mayflower, which I guess is about the Mayflower, the founding fathers, heading across the ocean into the darkness, under the stars, under the sea, and the stars and the wind, heading to the new land, the new promised land. And again, it's an expansive. It's what you expect it to be. But again, if you don't know what the Mayflower is, it takes on a bit more of a cosmic kind of vibe, a bit more bigger than this planet. It's more about the stars and the wind. But it is about that. But you could listen to it on a more cosmic level if you so wish. It's pleasant enough. You flip it over, or you just keep on playing if you're on CD or streaming. Friends of Mr. Cairo, 12 minutes. Again, Mr. Cairo is the Peter Lorre character. The the tyre screech at the beginning is apparently sampled from the film Get Car with Michael Caine. No, it's not the one where he says, I told you just to blow the bloody doors off. That's the other one. But Michael Caine, Get Car, one of my favourite films. Going off on a tangent. No, keep it to the Friends of Mr. Cairo. It's 12 minutes. It's a celebration of gangster movies, Edward G. Robinson, Humphrey Bogart, Jimmy Stewart. It's got everything. It's completely hokey and uncool, but I kind of like it, and it's just completely uncool. But I enjoy it because it's so daft. It's just such a daft song. But hey, I like that. Back to School is absolutely execrable. I don't know what it's meant to be, and I think it's meant to be like a doo-wop song. I've never really dug it. But yeah, again, I haven't got the album in front of me because we cheat and we listen to the album you've got in your archive. We do this. But apparently Claire Hamill does backing vocals on Back to School. Again, Claire Hamill is somebody who I'm a fan of, and that was interesting. Interested me, right? But not a particularly good track, unfortunately. And then the albums round off with Outside of This, Inside of That, which is, again, it's okay. What's really interesting, they actually released Friends of Mr. Cairo as a single. How did they do that? It's 12 minutes long. I guess they must have edited it. But there you go. I'm looking at the Wikipedia page. Yes, outside of that, inside of it, it's a fairly pleasant. It's all right. It's okay. But I still think they should have ended. They should have bookended the album with both of the big songs. I Find My Way Home and State of Independence. I think that's how it should have sat. I think it would have been a more satisfying record, because then you've got to get to the good one. You know what I'm saying? If you put the two good ones at the beginning, like you say, all your energy's gone. But if you know that they're reissuing it, just put the two hits at the beginning. Really, that's just lazy. I believe in the album as an art form, and it should lead. It should undulate and take you up and down and sideways and whatnot. So yeah, it's 6 of one, half a dozen the other of an album. You've got, like I say, some really great songs. You've got some okay songs and one stinker. That's it. But if you don't want the albums, buy the compilation, I guess. Which again, I guess is it still around? It's the best of Jon and Vangelis. I'm just pulling up the album artwork. It's this one. Get this one because it's got all the songs, all the hits. It's got Friends of Mr. Cairo on it. So that's the one you want. But yeah, a jolly romp. And it takes you back to, like I say, 1981. Man, I'm getting old. So yeah, and just think, Vangelis could have been in Yes. Imagine the music they would have made. Imagine the directions they'd have gone in if Vangelis had been in Yes. Again, some of his stuff you would have heard. Again, his name crops up on the ABWH album. On the last track of that is a co-write with him, and some of his other. I think there's a couple of later Yes tracks that are co-writes of Vangelis that he's got a credit for. So he kind of got into Yes, didn't he? He kind of. Anyway, that's the review. I've been talking about Friends of Mr. Cairo by Jon and Vangelis, released back in 1981. It's their second album together, and probably their best known album, their best album, most popular album. Check it out, give it a listen. It's available on streaming, so if you fancy the elevated tones of Mr. Accrington Stanley himself. I want to make a record, Mr. Vangelis. I want to make a record. Can we make a record together? I don't trot that out very often. I haven't done Mr. Accrington Stanley for a long time. So hopefully you enjoyed the review. Remember, you must
subscribe, like and subscribe. If you don't, I'll spit in your eye.
What a jolly tune. Remember, listen to the robots, listen to the robot gods, and that's the review. Thank you for watching. I'm Don Rock. That was the Friends of Mr. Cairo, Jon and Vangelis. And you've got to remember to prog on.